It's 3:14 p.m. on a wet, gray Thursday afternoon. You are standing inside a local branch of a major retail bank. The air inside is heavy, carrying the familiar smell of damp wool coats, chip printer paper, and the sterile, slightly metallic scent of an industrial air conditioning system that has been running all day without a break. You are standing behind a thick, yellow velvet rope that is suspended between two heavy brass stanchions. You are waiting your turn. There are several people ahead of you in the queue. There is a young mother with dark, heavy circles under her eyes, rocking a crying toddler in her arms, trying to keep him quiet by bouncing on her heels and whispering soft, desperate words into his hood. Ahead of her is a man in grease-stained work pants, his hands calloused and rough, clutch gripping a crumpled paper envelope of cash. He keeps shifting his weight from one work boot to another, checking the clock on the wall every few seconds. And ahead of him is an elderly woman, her fingers trembling slightly as she carefully counts out her deposit slip, double-checking the numbers with a small plastic magnifying glass she pulled from her leather purse. You look past them toward the bank tellers sitting behind the high, bulletproof glass partitions. Their faces are blank, almost statuesque. They move with a robotic, weary rhythm that has been polished by years of repetition. They scan barcodes. They count $20 bills through automatic humming machines. They stamp mark paper slips. They slide deposit receipts through the narrow slot at the bottom of the glass. To them, you are not a human being with a story, a family, an ambition, or a dream. You are not a person who worked 40 hours this week to earn the paper in your wallet. You are a number, a simple clinical balance sheet loading on a black terminal screen. And tonight, we are going to look past that thick, bulletproof glass. We are going to strip away the glossy marketing brochures showing smiling families in sunny backyard gardens, the sleek gold credit cards reflecting the studio lights, and the friendly, warm slogans on the massive billboards outside. We are going to look at the brutal, unvarnished truth of how the retail banking system actually views you. Because the way a bank treats you has absolutely nothing to do with your character, your loyalty, your years of service, or how hard you work. It has everything to do with the absolute size of your stack, from the cold dread of a $0 checking account to the silent VIP suites of a $10 million private client office. The financial world is a ladder where every single rung has a completely different set of rules. It is a quiet record of your survival, a ledger of every choice you made to say no, every hour of overtime you worked in the cold, and every single dream you decided to postpone so that you could buy yourself a small measure of safety in a world that is constantly charging you to exist. And there is a specific quiet pivot point, a threshold of exactly $20,000 where the bank's entire posture towards you silently changes. This is the moment where the numbers on the screen stop being a simple record of past labor and become an active, breathing shield. It is a quiet, powerful fortress that stands between your family and the sudden, unpredictable storms of the global economy, giving you the luxury of silence. And here is the secret. They absolutely hate when you find it. When you cross that invisible line, you are no longer a victim of their fee traps, and you are not yet rich enough for them to sell you their expensive wealth management products. You become a frugal ghost in their system, using their entire global infrastructure for free. Tonight, we will walk up the ladder, tier by tier, and explore how banks treat you at every level of wealth, from $0 to $10 million. Let's see what happens to a dollar when it enters their vault, and let's see what happens to you. Welcome to Peak Ledger. Let's look behind the glass. Let's start at the very bottom. Tier 1, $0 to $1,000. The danger zone. You are 22 years old, standing in the narrow, neon-lit aisle of a local convenience store. You look around at the dim, fluorescent lights that buzz with a low, irritating hum, casting an artificial yellow shadow over the linoleum tiles. You can see the dust motes dancing in the cold light and the grease-smeared glass of the display case where stale, dried-out pastries sit under a heat lamp. The air smells of cheap gasoline, floor wax, and stale hot rollers. You are holding a $4 plastic-wrapped turkey sandwich and a plastic bottle of water. Your throat is dry and scratchy. You've just finished an exhausting 9-hour shift standing on a cold concrete warehouse floor, packing boxes for a company that doesn't know your name. You reach the cash register. The cashier, a tired teenager with a faded name tag and glazed eyes, scans your food. For $1.12, she says, her voice completely normal, you slide your worn debit card through the reader. A thin piece of blue plastic with a scratched chip that represents the absolute boundary of your choices. Holding a record of every dollar you have worked for and every single thing you have been forced to deny yourself, you hold your breath. It is a physical habit you picked up 2 years ago, tightening in your chest. Slight clenching of your jaw every time the machine connects. The machine beeps. It is not the short, happy chirp of a successful transaction. It is a long, high-pitched, mocking tone. The screen flashes in block letters, declined. Your ears go hot instantly. You can feel the blood rushing to your face. You feel the eyes of the man behind you in line, a contractor holding a pack of energy drinks, looking at his watch with visible impatience. Just put the sandwich back, you say, your voice cracking slightly. You grab your keys, turn around, and walk out of the store into the cold, wet rain without looking back. When you get to your car, you sit in the dark driver's seat. Your hands are trembling as you pull out your phone and open your mobile banking app. Your balance reads, -$6.12. You realize that a small, forgotten monthly subscription fee of $12 hit your account 3 hours ago. Because you didn't have enough money in your checking account to cover it, the bank didn't simply refuse the charge. It is a quiet record of your survival, a ledger of every choice you made to say no, every hour of overtime you worked in the cold, and every single dream you decided to postpone so that you could buy yourself a small measure of safety in a world that is constantly charging you to exist. They let the transaction go through, and then they instantly charged you a $35 overdraft fee. It is a calculated, systematic levy on your misfortune. A digital penalty designed to ensure that if you do not have enough money to buy food, you will have even less money tomorrow, trapping you in a cycle of high-interest revolving credit that funds the executive bonuses and high-rise headquarters. $12 fee turned into a $47 debt. This is the ultimate bitter irony of Tier 1. The penalty for being broke is being made more broke. At this level, you are not a customer to the banking system. You are prey. They do not make money by lending you capital or managing your assets. They make money by trapping you in a complex, automated maze of fees. Overdraft fees were not invented by accident. In the early 1990s, banks realized they could automate the process of clearing checks, purposely clearing the largest transaction first so that the subsequent smaller transactions would each trigger a separate $35 penalty. They reordered the math of your life to maximize their margins. To the retail banking system, your empty account is a resource to be harvested. Every teller behind the counter is trained to watch you with a subtle, defensive suspicion. When you walk up to deposit a $90 check, they examine the paper like it is a forgery. They hold it up to the light, check the signatures twice, and place a 5-day hold on the funds. Do this because they assume that you are one bad Monday away from vanishing into the dark, leaving them with an unpaid balance. They make you feel small. They make you feel like a thief in their lobby, simply for trying to deposit the crumbs of your wages. The system is built to keep you on the floor, charging you the exact amount of money it takes to keep you from ever saving enough to climb off it. It is a noisy, stressful, and deeply humiliating world where every single transaction is a high-stakes battle for survival. Your father knew this feeling. He spent 34 years working manual labor, his hands swollen, warning you that the bank is a silent partner that only takes and never gives, but you are determined to prove him wrong. You are determined to find a way out. You decide that you will no longer let them harvest your crumbs. You will find the discipline to fight your way up. But you work. You grind. You work every overtime shift they offer on Saturdays. You spend 2 years packing your lunch in wax paper, saying maybe next month to every night out with your friends. You climb into Tier 2. It is a small, quiet detail, but it represents the absolute discipline of a household that knows the value of $1. It represents a mother who woke up at 5 a.m. to pack a lunch, and a father who ate it on a cold bucket without ever complaining about the gray skies. $1,000 to $10,000. The breathing room. You are 25 now. You've managed to save $3,000. It sits in a plain checking account, a quiet, modest pool of water in a dry land. It is a quiet record of your survival, a ledger of every choice you made to say no, every hour of overtime you worked in the cold, And every single dream you decided to postpone so that you could buy yourself a small measure of safety in a world that is constantly charging you to exist. The overdraft fees stop. It is a calculated, systematic levy on your misfortune. A digital penalty designed to ensure that if you do not have enough money to buy food, you will have even less money tomorrow, trapping you in a cycle of high-interest revolving credit that funds the executive bonuses in high-rise headquarters. The card never gets declined at the gas station. Your ears no longer burn when you slide the plastic. You feel a sense of accomplishment. Think you've made it to safe ground. But the bank's posture towards you hasn't actually changed, has just shifted strategies. At this level, the bank views your hard-earned savings as passive, free inventory. They know you have a few $1,000s sitting idle, and they know you are too terrified of losing it to invest it anywhere else. So, they pay you 0.01% interest on your savings account. If you keep $5,000 in your savings account for an entire year, the bank will reward your discipline by giving you exactly 50 cents. Meanwhile, they take your $5,000 and lend it to someone else as a car loan at 8%, or a credit card balance at 29%. They use the legal mechanism of fractional reserve banking. For every $1 you deposit, they're legally allowed to lend out $10 of credit, creating massive interest streams out of thin air, using your deposit as their foundational reserve. They are making hundreds of dollars of pure profit off your labor and returning you a crumb that wouldn't buy a single cup of cheap coffee. And then, the marketing mail starts arriving in your mailbox. Every week, your mailbox is filled with sleek, colorful envelopes from your bank. Congratulations, you've been pre-approved for our Platinum Rewards card. The letters show photos of young, successful-looking professionals dining at expensive outdoor restaurants, laughing over glasses of wine. They are trying to lure you back into the fee maze. They know you have a small buffer, and they want you to spend it. They want you to buy a vacation, a couch, a flat-screen TV that you don't need, financing it at a rate that will keep you locked in Tier 1 forever. The tellers at the branch are slightly nicer now. They smile when you walk up to their counter. But it's a predatory smile. They are scanning their screens, looking for the small prompt that tells them to pitch you a high-fee credit card or a personal loan. They want you to buy things you can't afford to impress people you don't like. You are no longer a suspect, but you are still a target. Your $3,000 buffer is just raw materials for their credit engine. They want you to think you are rich so they can make you poor. And then, you do something remarkable. You refuse to take the bait. You don't buy the flat screen. You don't sign up for the Platinum card. You keep saving, dollar by dollar, and you cross the threshold. You hit $20,000. This is the moment where the numbers on the screen stop being a simple record of past labor and become an active, breathing shield. It is a quiet, powerful fortress that stands between your family and the sudden, unpredictable storms of the global economy, giving you the luxury of silence. This is the pivot point, the peak ledger. You are 28 years old, driving an old, reliable Toyota Corolla with faded paint and a small dent in the rear bumper. Your coworkers are financing brand new $50,000 trucks, paying $800 a month for the privilege of looking rich. They think you are struggling because you pack your lunch in a reusable container and don't wear designer logos. What they don't know is that your phone holds a quiet balance of $20,000. This is the moment where the numbers on the screen stop being a simple record of past labor and become an active, breathing shield. It is a quiet, powerful fortress that stands between your family and the sudden, unpredictable storms of the global economy, giving you the luxury of silence. And $20,000 is a magical number because it represents roughly 6 months of absolute survival capital. This is the moment where the numbers on the screen stop being a simple record of past labor and become an active, breathing shield. It is a quiet, powerful fortress that stands between your family and the sudden, unpredictable storms of the global economy, giving you the luxury of silence. Suddenly, everything in your life changes. You have a shield. If your car breaks down, it's not a tragedy. It's just a quiet Thursday afternoon. You transfer the money from your savings, fix the car, and go back to reading your book. If your boss screams at you on a Monday morning, your stomach doesn't knot up. You don't have to smile and swallow the insult because you are terrified of losing your paycheck. You have the power to say no. You have the power to walk away if you have to. And here is the secret. The bank absolutely hates this level of wealth. $20,000, you are a frugal ghost in their system. This is the moment where the numbers on the screen stop being a simple record of past labor and become an active, breathing shield. It is a quiet, powerful fortress that stands between your family and the sudden, unpredictable storms of the global economy, giving you the luxury of silence. You have enough money to avoid all of their traps. You don't overdraft. You don't pay maintenance fees. You don't carry a credit card balance that accrues 29% interest. But you don't have enough money for them to sell you their lucrative wealth management services. You are using their global infrastructure for free, and they are making almost nothing off of you. When you walk into the branch and hand the teller your ID, their screen loads your balance. You watch their face. There is a subtle, almost imperceptible micro-expression. It is a mixture of surprise, respect, and quiet frustration. They see a young man who has bypassed their maze, see someone who cannot be bullied. The teller's tone changes. "How can I help you today, sir?" asked the sir, sounding genuine for the first time in your life. But they will immediately try to get you out of this zone. They will offer to connect you with a financial representative in a small glass office near the door.